Good day to all. Today we are going to deal with the lesson The Enemy from the book Vistas. I hope you're all doing good. It feels really nice to get connected with all of you one more time. I hope to see all of you in a classroom setup, face to face, as early as possible. Please stay at home, stay safe, okay? With that being said, I hope you all have the copies of the lessons with you, because without having the copies of the poem or the lessons with you, it does little or no good when there is without the copies of all these things in your hands. Okay, so we have already dealt with the first part of the lesson, The Enemy. This is the longest lesson in the book, The Vistas. Okay, and then the second part of the lesson deals with the conflicting emotions between the patient and the doctor. Okay, the doctor's name is Dr. Sado, and he has the kind of a very conflicting relationship with the patient named Tom, and he's a prisoner of war. We're all aware of all these facts. Okay, so one day what happens is Tom completely recovers from his bullet wound after Sado performs, okay, a very delicate and most important operation. And then he sees him recovering from the operation. And then one day he's completely recovered and he tries to strike a conversation with the doctor, but the doctor is not clearly interested in having the conversation with the patient, because the 1 week in which Tom was lying on bed, okay, so many things have happened in Dr. Sado's house, which was completely unsettling for the entire family. The servants leave the house, stating that doctor's humanitarian effort is not siding with their patriotic views. So all this kind of discussion we had inside the class, I would like to take it from there. Okay, so he recovers, Tom recovers, and he tries to have conversation with Dr. Sado, but Dr. Sado is not interested, because uh, you know even then he is wrestling with this conflicting ideas of patriotism and humanism in him. Okay, this lesson is all about, I told you, and I'm telling you time and again, that this is a kind of like a war between the feelings of patriotism and the feelings of humanism in a human being. Okay, how a doctor, being a lifesaver, okay, chooses his professionalism over patriotism. Okay, Japan is at war with United States of America, and one day when Sado and Hannah, his wife, when they were standing on their home's veranda, they see a man being washed ashore, right? And then they go rush towards the scene and they take the man inside, they shelter him, and then Dr. Sado eventually performs an operation on Tom. But this was not liked by any of the servants, the cook, the caretaker of the family. They have 2 children, the caretaker of the children, the gardener. None of them is supporting this humanitarian help done by Dr. Sado. So eventually what happens, all the servants leave the house. Okay, so now it is the work of Hannah, Dr. Sado's wife, to take care of each and everything in the house. This was not liked by Sado in first place. Not only that, they were scared for their lives too. So when your country is against war with some other foreign nation, what your motherland expects from you is you should be supporting your motherland. You should not harbor another person from the enemy nation. Okay, that is the kind of understanding, that is the kind of expectation that any government would have out of the country to which you belong. Okay, the same kind of fear Dr. Sado also has, both Sado and Hannah has. Okay, so that prevents him, that sense of fear prevents him from having conversation with Tom. At the same time, what happens in the mind of Tom is he is filled with fear, because he is also having a kind of fear, which is fear for life itself. Okay, this is a struggle of fear. It is a kind of conflicting emotions that arises in the minds of two men here. One is a doctor, the other one is prisoner of war, a navy guy named Tom, right? Tom is having this sense of fear in him, whether he's going to be handed over to the police by the doctor, or he is going to be eventually killed by one party or the other. Okay, this is the kind of fear that is there in Tom, which allows him to have a conversation with Sado, but Sado's thoroughly disinterested, and this kind of creates dejection in the mind of Tom. Okay, so both of the men stop right there, and then what happens is, the very next day, um, what happens is Sado is in his study, okay, and then he is studying something. Hannah is in the kitchen, and then suddenly a messenger from General Takima appears at the doorstep, and Hannah feels completely restless, okay, because she feels that they have come to get Sado, to arrest Sado, without knowing that he is the messenger for General Takima. So she feels really scared, and she asks the man what he wants, and he says, he without even answering Hannah's question, he heads directly into the house. He reaches the study room where Dr. Sado is sitting, and he seeing the man in the uniform, Dr. Sado gets up from his chair, and then he asks him what's the matter, and the man replies that General Takima is in pain and he needs the doctor immediately. Okay, when Hannah hears all this words out of the messenger, she lets out a sigh of relief. Okay, because she feels that the man has come to arrest Sado, but that's not the case, and she feels really, really happy one more time. And the right kind of emotion that we could say at this point of time is she feels relieved. Okay, and she goes back to the kitchen, and Dr. Sado gets ready to go with the messenger, and before getting ready, he goes to the kitchen to see Hannah and bid goodbye to her, and that's when he sees his wife in a troubled state of mind. Okay, and it just brings the reality right in front of his eyes, and then he decides that he has to put an end to this matter of a man, a foreigner, a prisoner of war, staying in his house. Okay, to him maybe Tom is a patient, but in the eyes of the others, in the eyes of the society, in the eyes of General Takima even, he would be an enemy. Okay, and that justifies the title of the lesson, the enemy. Okay, so he goes to visit General Takima, and General Takima is not keeping well. Okay, and when he was checking the general, he admits to the fact that he has operated on prisoner of war. He says all the things that happens, okay, that has happened in his house and that is still happening in his house. He says everything to General Takima, okay, and the general thinks for a while, okay, and he says, you are a good man, just like you. Even I had my education, I got my education in USA. I was educated at Princeton University. That's what General Takima says to Dr. Sado. And all the while when General Takima talks, Dr. Sado remains very quiet. Other than answering in one-liners, he just keeps quiet because he wants to observe and listen to what General Takima has to say for Dr. Sado's actions. Okay. And then, like, General Takima is a person who needs Dr. Sado very, very much, because we know for a fact that Dr. Sado is one of the topmost surgeons of Japan. Not only that, he's also a scientist. Okay, so General Takima is in a very bad health condition, and he is in very much need of Dr. Sado. So Dr. Sado says all this, and General Takima says he was educated in USA, and he also accepts the fact that Dr. Sado is a good man.